Okay, Chico 2, add the rigid body 2D. Gravity scale 30. Rotation frozen. And then we'll just add a script for moving Chico, or your character. Chico move. Chico move. Chico, 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 Chico. Our standard variables, I'm going to use the axis value in case we want to add a player 2 at any point. We might need to switch the axis. Speed as a float. Let's start on 30F and see how we're looking. A rigid body, 2D. Then I'll call ORB. And I'll need a bool. Is grounded set to false by default. And then this rigid body reference is just so I can store it in a one-line thing. I can make it a variable on start and say ORB equals get component. It's doing autocomplete for me. So then for the rest of the script, I don't have to write get component rigid body 2D at all. I can just refer to ORB. So in our first script, we did the get component rigid body 2D, and then dot velocity to get our speed. Actually, do I have it? Yeah, I have it right here. Get component rigid body 2D velocity. We don't need to write all that for the rest of this script. Instead of that, I can just put ORB. ORB dot velocity means the same thing. So that's the only reason I'm putting that there, to save us time later on. Okay. Update. We'll need an update and a fixed update. Then I had a jump. Actually, I'll just do it all in update. Yeah, we'll leave fixed update out of it. Float h removing horizontally equals input dot get axis raw. Yeah, no, get axis. Yeah, raw. Axis h. Make a vector. Oh, idle. Stillness. So, can you think of a place where you ever made to wait for something? Any place in the world, the real world, you have to wait for something. think with give me an example.
So you are in the bus stop.
Bus stop, perfect. I'm at the bus stop. I'm doing this. This animation is an idle. I'm doing nothing. I'm not moving, but I'm still kind of awake. You see the game. If you leave them for too long and they start doing things, that's an idle animation.
But here in your example, you are calling idle right or tab.
Oh yes, because it is facing to the right.
Ah, okay.
And I should have made an idle left as well. So when he's walking and he stops, he's facing the way he stopped. Whereas now with ours, even if he's walking to the left, he's going to stop and turn around. So that's why I made an idle or. Next week I'll do an idle L. I'm probably going to redesign the character a little bit.
It's like resting state. It's like a resting state.
Perfect. Resting state. That's better. Yeah. What do you say for being idle in your language? Pregulando.
We say reposo.
Reposo. Heard it? Right.
Reposado.
Or B dot velocity. U two. Okay, so we haven't set up our animator yet, but we will be using similar setup to last week. So we can use this script from last week as well for the access animator. I'll leave it commented out for the moment, so it doesn't cause an error. Are you in Playbook? Yes, you are. You're in Playbook. That's in Playbook. Click on the play button. You're out of Playbook. Don't worry. Okay, so for jump, we're going to need a couple more variables than usual. A float similar to the speed, we're just going to apply it to our vertical motion. And then this string jump refers to jump in the input manager. There's also fire, stuff like that. So it's going to automatically pick probably the space bar for jump, and we can change it in the input manager, just like horizontal is in the input manager. Int float h, I say. Int x. Oh yeah, okay. H. Yep. Okay, so my float jump force, my string jump, meaning the jump button is going to be set, and then in update, just going to check if I have my jump key hit. We're going to add force in upward direction times our jump force, and this is our force mode. So there's different force modes: acceleration, impulse, explosion force as well, depending on what you're trying to do. I find impulse, because it gives you the full value of your jump force the second you press the button, is best for something immediate like a jump. But you can try out the rest of them. Force mode 2D dot impulse force. Oh, where's acceleration? Oh well, it doesn't exist. Save my chat. Okay, so I can move. Input key jump is unknown. Just make sure the input manager actually has the input key jump. Yeah, it's there. Okay, let me just go on hard code it, key code, space. From time to time, yeah. Not great. Not great. Okay, maybe it'll get better. Just about. Okay, yeah. But it isn't. It's not doing a ground check yet. I'm out of the ground check. Yeah. Anyway. Space. I don't know why that jump button isn't working either. It's annoying me. Ah, our good old friend, the bounds. So, in order to calculate our ground check, we need to know the size of our collider. We need to set a range to detect the ground. More complicated stuff, calculate the position below the collider from the center, and then we cast a ray from the center for detection and return what it's hit. So, bounds we used in our first script, the ball script, I believe, when we the rackets. Yeah, this hit factor thing takes in bounds. Every time our ball hit the racket, it would calculate the size of the racket's collider on the y-axis. So we're accessing that again to get the size of our collider and therefore the size of our character. And I realize now I'm creating this as a function. I have it as a variable up top. I don't need it as a variable up here. It's going to be checked downstairs. So I can get rid of that variable is grounded because the function is going to perform the task for me. So, my range is here. I've already calculated bounds, which is the size of the collider. Whoa, they're going to come through that floor. Now my range, I set it to equal the bound extends dot y, so I'm just looking at the size, the vertical size of my character, the y-axis. I'm just going to multiply by a value to go beyond that. If I multiply by 1.1, it's going to add 10% onto the size on the top and bottom. So that's 10% beyond the range of the character, the detection area. So that range will be, we'll draw the ray from our center. It'll be a little bit larger, and anything that's overlapping, we'll know it's the ground. So 1.2 will add 20%, 1.4 add 40%, etc., etc. 1.2. A vector from the center of our bounds. It's all built on this bounds thing, the size of our collider. So we draw from the center going up, multiplied by the range. We'll calculate the position below the collider from the center. This is all tedious stuff. Once you write it once, you don't have to write it again, ever. Why am I getting an error here? Oh, yeah. Void. No, wait, no. It is going to return a value. What am I saying? Yeah, that's fine. Not void, not void, not void. What was I saying? V, center, bounds, vector V, bounds, center. Okay. I'm making it wrong here. I'm not vector 2, I'm transform up. Yeah, gotcha.
Teacher, I think that you are not recording.
I didn't think you were wrong.
The problem is here, you're streaming, YouTube is not recording. Probably my Wi-Fi.
Yeah. No worries, man. We all make mistakes.
Okay, there are two parts. I got
The ray, the magical ray. Draw the ray from the center for detection. So that point we made, we're going to draw back to bound center. So there's the point. Bound center is the center of our collider. Draw ray from center for detection. Ray cost 2D, hit ray. 2D dot line cast. Vector 2 start, vector 2 end. Let's start at V and go to the center. And then yes, we're getting an error in our is grounded because it's saying we're not returning a value. We will return a value on our last line here. The value, true or false, did we hit a collider or hit ourselves? Return. Ray collider game object not equal game object. Ray dot collider dot game object Yep, wrong, right? And then is grounded, we only want to run when we are pressing the space bar. So in our condition for jump, are we pressing the space bar and are we grounded? Ampersand, ampersand is grounded. Barg. And open and close parentheses. Yes, it does. Oh, capital I. Whoops. It shouldn't be capital, shouldn't it? Oh, it should. Yeah. There we go. Do I need to add the orb velocity y here? Okay, save and test. Just about. Wondering what's going on here. Whoa. Where are you, Chico? Ah, much better. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. So, slight restructuring. I've changed the horizontal value. I didn't take into account that in our movement vector, we needed to add the vertical movement we were adding with jump. So we're accessing vector 2 up, which means we're changing the velocity in the vertical, the y-axis, and I didn't add that in. I also only want to apply my speed. It's actually my movement speed because we have a jump force value. There, I only want to apply my speed to the horizontal value, this float h. That has made all the difference. I realize now, double applying that force because it had the jump force and the speed force. So it was like, yeah, fighting each other. And because we've already used our animation script, that should be, we just have to set up the animations, they will already run. Float h is paired to int h for the horizontal axis. Okay, and now he's doing that. Fantastic. Much smoother, much smoother. Okay, setting up his animations. I've got 15 minutes, so I'm going to move a little bit fast. Earlier on, we created 3 avatars, and that created some animation controllers. So you can see on my character, there's an animator component, and the controller is Chico 0. So that's the only one I'm going to keep. Any other controllers I find, I'm going to delete. So Chico 0 is the one I need. That's on my player. And these will be created where we saved your animations. So if I open my animations, I can see there's Butterface from last week, and there's Chico 0, Chico 2, and Chico 4. I don't need Chico 2 and Chico 4. I just need the animations, which are these, idle and walk. 3 animations. And 1 animation controller, the main one. So these are little state machines. If I open it up, ooh, I can't see anything in Chico 2, or 3, or even 1. Great. What are these things? Not even an entry? Alright, this is great. Okay, so I'm just going to delete Chico 2 and 4. So I just have Chico 0, which is the one on my character. And there should be something that says entry on my default state, the animation state, but I can't seem to find where they are. Maximize. Just completely empty. Thank God I'm not live streaming this. That'd be really embarrassing. Okay, Chico, you want to fight me? I'm going to put idle in here. I can't. What is happening? I'm not playing mode. It could be a bug, yeah. Oh, yeah. Alright, save it all. I mean, I can't think of anything else. It's not letting me drag anything in. Can I open up the old Butterface one? I can, and it's not showing anything. Right, yeah, it's a bug. It's Chico time. Okay. Save. closey close, and see if this will do something. Okay, open state machine. There we go. You were right. Off and on again. So in the state machine, by default, it has whatever animation you use to create the state machine. The first animation I brought out was my idle, so my idle is already here. And then I'm just going to bring in these other two. Chico walk to the left, and Chico walk to the right. So the two animations are there. I can drop a model on here, I think. And there. Then in my script, like we did last week, defined an integer as the thing that's going to control our animation, which is named x here in script. So I'm going to name it that in my animation state machine. Parameters. And then click that little plus and add an int as a parameter. Float, int, bool, trigger. Triggers work as well. I usually use them for doors. So. Int. New int is called x. And then I think we can just do any state from any state on idle. Right click, make transition to walk or. Right click, make transition to walk left. And the x value of the character when he's standing still is going to be at 0. So the idle, I can actually make a transition there as well. Make transition to idle. That means the x value is going to be at 0. So I select the animation, I see its time, I select the transition line. This is going to be where I set up the logic and the conditions for when we change animation to animation. So it says right here, I need a transition, or I need a condition, or it'll be ignored entirely. We have one condition, the x parameter, the int. So any state to idle, x, it's not greater, it's not less, it is equals. When x equals 0, we are idling. We're not moving the positive or the negative. And then the other settings I always have to do, turn off fixed duration, turn off can transition to self, transition duration 0.1. So I just do that all the time, just for safety. You can modify them later. That one, that one, that one. But anyway. X equals 0 to go to the idle. Click on the transition wire to walk right. We're going in the positive direction. So under conditions, x will be greater than 0. And then I have to do this thing again. Exit time, fixed duration, transition duration 0, 1. Can't transition to self, all of that. And then the other way back. X is less than 0. Because we're going to do the minus on the screen. X plus, X minus. And fixed duration, transition duration 0.1. And transition to self. And that should be set up. Let's find out. Magical moment. I can't tell because he's moving so fast. I'll make his movement slower. Chico player. Move speed 5. Jump force 20. There he goes. Look at him go. It's Chico. The magical moment has come. Use Chico. I'll bring the camera closer. Chico! And he has a little jump. And we've no jump animation, but we could trigger that. Wouldn't use the x-axis for that. Might use the y and check if it moves in the positive on the y, play that jump animation. Chico time. So test for yourself right now. You still have me for 6 minutes. If there's anything I can help with, I will. But I'm going to save my file here and stop the